to the virtual light party. We're very excited at the Zephaniah Trust. I'm Julia. I'll be joined by Julie, John and Yvonne and some of our delightful Zephaniah volunteers. It is lovely to have you and we have got some exciting things for you. We have got games, we've got art, we've got craft, we've got a story, we've got an extra thing in the middle that we haven't told you what it is yet. We've got songs with actions. So whenever you are ready, I think that we should crack on. It's too much, actually, it's too much. I got overexcited, sorry. Carry on.
Jesus is the light of the world. Jesus is the light. Jesus is the light. Jesus is the light of the world. Calling all saints, calling all sinners, calling every boy and girl. I'm telling you today, Christ is the way. Jesus is the light of the world. Jesus is the light, Jesus is the light, Jesus is the light of the world. Jesus is the light, Jesus is the light, Jesus is the light of the world. Calling all saints, calling all sinners, calling every boy and girl. I'm telling you today, Christ is the way, Jesus is the light of the world. Jesus is the light, Jesus is the light, Jesus is the light of the world. Jesus is the light, Jesus is the light, Jesus is the light of the world. Calling all saints, calling all sinners, calling every boy and girl. I'm telling you today, Christ is the way. Jesus is the light of the world. 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 Jesus is the light of the world.
Sorry, I forgot the end. That was much better.
Oh, that's awful. Oh my gosh.
Hey Zephyrs, and welcome to the games part of the light party for this year. I hope you're having fun so far, you're enjoying what we've been doing, even though you can't be with us and we've got to do it all remotely like this. You can still have fun, you can still join in with what we've got. Got 3 games for you this evening, and all of the games involve Conkers. All right, it's conkers because, well, it's that time of year, isn't it? So hopefully you've been able to go out and collect yourself some conkers before we start this, or maybe you'll be able to go out afterwards and collect some. If you can't find any conkers, if they've all gone already, then maybe acorns might do. There's still lots of those out and about in the woods and in the park. And if you can't find any of them, then maybe something else that you can find that's smallish and round-ish. I don't know, you could maybe use something like grapes, perhaps, although that could get a bit messy. Maybe not grapes, maybe something that's not going to get messy. But anyway, conkers, ideal. So if you've got conkers, let's go with them. And our first game that we are going to be playing with our conkers is Conquer Golf. I know, it's a thing. Now, for Conquer Golf, I have constructed an incredibly high-tech, beautifully designed golf hole thing. Don't really know what I'm going to call it, but one of these. Now you can also make one of these just from an empty cardboard box, and as you can see, I've cut holes out of my box, and the smaller the hole, the more points it's worth. The bigger the hole, the fewer points, because it's easier to get your conker in the big hole, so you don't get as many points for that. If you do not have an empty cardboard box that you can cut holes into, then you could use something else. I don't know, build some different sized arches out of Lego maybe. You could use different sized cups perhaps to use as the holes. Use your imagination, go wild. But if you've got a box, ideal. So I'm going to put my box on the floor. Now for my golf stick, what I'm going to use, a wooden spoon. Da, 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 da. I'm sure you've all got a wooden spoon knocking around the house somewhere. If you haven't, then go outside and find yourself just a stick to use. That will be fine. And for this game, I am going to use 3 of my fabulous conkers. So 1, 2, 3 conkers selected from my collection there. I'm going to see how many points I can get with my 3 conkers. So conker number 1 onto the floor. And I'm going to take aim. Obviously I'm going to aim for the highest score possible, and I'm going to not do very well with my first hit. 1. Oh, so close, I just got round the side. Oh, I suppose I could knock it back, knock it in. No, I can't knock it. This is terrible. 20 points. Conker number 1, 20 points. It only took me 4 goes to get it there. Right, conker number 2. Oh, rebound. Oh, miles off. Okay, that one is gone. That one is a dead conker. Oh, well out of bounds. Conker number 3. What am I going to get? Oh, miles off again. This is not good. I've not done great with my conker golf. I'm going to guess that every one of you can do better than I did, because I only managed to score 20 points with my 3 conkers. Now, you can play conker golf by yourself, just see how well you can do, or you can challenge somebody else in your house and see who can get the highest score with 3 conkers. Okay, conker golf. Job's a good one. Okay, game number 2 is conker boule. Now, boule is a little bit like bowls, but it's French. And instead of bowling, as you would in bowls, you throw the boule. Okay, so we're throwing, not bowling, and we're not using balls. Funnily enough, we're using conkers. Again, we're going to go with 3 conkers. So, 1, caught it, and 2. Oh, come on. And can I make it 3 out of 3? Okay, my catching is clearly better than my golf skills, but that's fine. So, 3 conkers. Now, the aim with boule is you start with 1 main boule, which you throw first. To help me distinguish between my conkers and my main boule, I'm not going to use a conker for my main one. I'm going to use a tomato. Yeah, I hope I don't live to regret this. Squished small swabby carpet wouldn't be good. But I'm going to throw my tomato, and then I'm going to throw my 3 conkers to see which one I can get closest to my main, a boule. Tomato. So, aim and... Okay, that is where I am aiming for. So conquer number 1. Feel the tension. I might need to try a little harder with my next one. That was feeble. Number 2. Better, but still too far away. Last chance. Is this going to be the one that gets close to the tomato? Oh, no, I'd have to get a ruler out to measure them. Which one is near? I don't have a ruler to hand, so I'm going to use my box. So this one is a whole box and a little bit, and this one is, hang about, I'll do it that way so you can see, it's a whole box and a little, I think that one is ever so slightly nearer, but it's a close call. So again, conquer boule, you can just play by yourself and see how close you can get your conkers to your main boule, whatever you choose to use. You might not use a tomato. Or challenge somebody else in your house and see who can get their conkers the closest. Right, let me just tidy these up because I do not want my tomato being squished into my carpet. Okay. Game number 3. For game number 3, I'm going to need, and you're going to need, a tube. Now I've got a tube of wrapping paper, and since how it's the light party, I have gone for, can you see that? I've got nice starry wrapping paper because it's the light party and stars, they shine. Yeah. So prop that up against there, like so, and I need a cup, and I've forgotten to get my cup, so hold on one moment while I just go and get my cup. And I am back with my cup. Excellent. So this is called Capture the Conker. Okay, now if you don't have a roll of wrapping paper at home, then again, find something else you can make your tube out of. You could use maybe a kitchen roll, that's got a fairly long tube, or maybe you've got an empty bottle of squash or something. You could chop the ends off the top and bottom, use that as a tube. Anything you can think of that you could use as a tube if you've not got a roll of wrapping paper, okay? Use your imaginations, shouldn't be too tricky. Now, I'm going to have to try and get down low again. Oh my goodness. All the way down. Okay, I'm there. So, got my cup, 3 conkers once again. And the aim of the game is to drop your conker down your tube and to catch it at the bottom with your cup. All right? You might think that sounds dead easy. Trust me, it's not as easy as it looks. So, let's have a go. Conker number 1. 3, 2, 1, go. Oh no! Oh, disaster! My tube's gone too tight. Hold on a minute. Hello, I can see you. Right, let me just widen that a bit. My conker was too big for my tube. Always test. There we go. That's going to roll out. That's too far away now, so conker. Okay. So, does it work? Yes. Alrighty. Let's try again. I have my conker at the top of my tube. I have my cup ready. 3, 2, 1, go. Not quite. Not quite. I was close. Put that one to one side. Let's try again. Conker number 2. Go. Oh, these are not working today at all. This tube is defective. I'm definitely, absolutely blaming the tube for this. Okay, so I'm going to need another conker. Let me just select my smaller conkers. Maybe size really does matter in this instance. So, there's my conkers. Ready to go. 3, 2, 1, Oh. Okay, it worked perfectly and I failed miserably. 3, 2, 1, go! Look at that. Look at that. I was too fast. I missed. Conkers there, cups there, missed. Right, final chance. 3, 2, 1, go! Oh! So close, but not quite. As with the other games, you can just play this by yourself. As you can see, just a bit of fun. Can you capture your conker? Or play it with somebody else and see who can capture the conker the most times. It's up to you. It's just a bit of fun. Enjoy yourselves. Enjoy the rest of the light party. Bye!
Valley of the shadow, I will fear no evil, 'cause I know you're with me. I can hear you calling my name. I can hear you calling my name. I'm gonna walk with my Lord, walk in His love. I'm gonna walk in His light, walk in the light of His love. I'm gonna walk with my Lord, walk in His love. I'm gonna walk in His light, walk in the light of His love.
And if I walk through the valley of the shadows, I will fear no evil, 'cause I know you're with me. I can hear you calling my name. I can hear you calling my name.
I'm gonna walk with my Lord, walk in His love. I'm gonna walk in His light, walk in the light of His love. I'm gonna walk with my Lord, walk in His love. I'm gonna walk in His light, walk in the light of His love.
Hello, Light Party. I was asked to do a little bit of window art, so you'll get to see it in a few minutes. It's a time-lapse video of a piece of window art that I've done with Posca pens. And I don't know if you have these at home, but if you've done pebble painting or things like that, then the chances are you may have these at home. They're like chalk pens, but they're kind of like chalk marker pens, but they're really good for painting on windows, and they come off really easily. But they don't, there's no issue if you get them on your clothes, or it'll just come out. so they're a good material for you guys to use. You can buy them online separately, or you can get them in packs. They're a bit more expensive in packs, obviously, and you can get different sizes. And the window art that I did was using a really fat white one, a red one and a yellow pen. But why don't you have a go at making some window art in your house or where you live? It's a really nice way of brightening up your community, and it's a good message to give out to people in the community that we're celebrating light rather than any dark. I'm going to go outside in a minute and just take a photograph of the window so that you can see it from the street view. But yeah, if you don't want to get any Posca pens, but you fancy painting on windows, you can do DIY paint, but I've never done it before. There's lots of places on the internet that will tell you how to make window paint, but in my experience, these guys are really good. So if you fancy having a go, have a go at some window art and brighten up your street with the message of light. Thanks, bye!
Shine my light all around, feeling good, feeling down, bouncing with joy, flat to the ground. Gonna shine my light all around, and there isn't anybody gonna put it down. Gonna shine my light all around, gonna shine my light all around, feeling good, feeling down, bouncing with joy, flat to the ground. Gonna shine my light all around, and there isn't anybody gonna put it out. Gonna shine my light all around. It was God who said, let there be light. I made the rainbow color the sky. It was Jesus who said, I am the light, let him shine in you, a flame that will never die. I'm gonna shine my light all around, feeling good, feeling down, bouncing with joy, flat to the ground. Gonna shine my light all around, and there isn't anybody gonna put it out. Gonna shine my light all around. It was God who said, let there be light. I made the rainbow color the sky. It was Jesus who said, I am the light, let him shine in you, a flame that will never die. I'm gonna shine my light all around, feeling good, feeling down, bouncing with joy, flat to the ground. Gonna shine my light all around, and there isn't anybody gonna put it out. Gonna shine my light all around. Into dark corners, gonna shine my light. 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 And there isn't anybody gonna put it out. Gonna shine my light all around. Gonna shine my light all around. Feeling good, feeling down, bouncing with joy, flat to the ground. Gonna shine my light all around, and there isn't anybody gonna put it out. Gonna shine my light all around. I'm gonna shine my light all around. Gonna shine my light all around. I'm gonna shine my light all around. I'm gonna shine my light all around.
Hello, me again. So not long now until we have our story for today. But before that, we are going to make something. We are going to make your very own little firefly friend to keep you company while you listen to the story. So to make this, you will need an empty bottle with lid. If you don't have a bottle, also a jar will work fine as well. You will need some paper. You will need some pens, some scissors, some sellotape, and optional extras. If you want to make it really fancy, if you've got some googly eyes and a pipe cleaner and some glow sticks. 2 or 3 would be good. If you don't have those things, worry not. That's just for an extra fancy one. So you can still make one. So to start off with, for our firefly friend, we're going to start off with their little face. So to do this, I'm going to take off the lid. I'm going to draw around it because that will show you about how big the face can be. So you can pop it on your piece of paper and draw around it to make a little circle. Yours will be neater than mine because you'll probably be leaning on a table rather than Beano annual. So once you've drawn your little circle, you can decorate that to be your little firefly's face. If you've got googly eyes, go for it, use them, they will be delightful. Otherwise, just draw it on and design it however you wish. So once you have drawn your little firefly face, we will stick it onto the lid. You need to cut it out carefully. Remember to get your grown-up to help you with cutting out. So we'll pop it on. We'll use the sellotape to stick it on. I have some pre-cut bits. Lovely. Stick it over the front of the face and stick it like that. Now, instead of folding it in under the lid, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to chop off the ends because we want to put the lid back onto the bottle. So it'll be easier to do that if there's not lots of sellotape on the inside. Lovely. And there's the sweet little face. So what is next? We need to make the wings. So to do that, you don't need a whole sheet of paper. You need half of one, half an A4 sheet. So fold it in half like that. And then you can cut it in half or ask your grown-up to. Once you have got a half sheet of paper, we're actually going to fold that in half again. So like that. Now, while it is folded in half, you're going to draw half a heart shape on it. I will show you. So it's like that, folded in half. I'm going to draw a big heart shape. So make sure it fills your whole little bit of paper, like that. Once you have drawn it, we're going to cut that out while it is still folded in half. I should say, make sure you draw it from not the side I've drawn it. You need to draw it the other way. Right, so make sure you've got the fold here and then draw your heart from the fold so that when you cut it, it will open up to be a heart. There we go. I'm glad I made that mistake because now you don't have to. So once you've cut that out or got your grown-up to help you, it will look something like this. It will open up like that. So you have a beautiful heart shape, but also the wings for your firefly. So we'll stick it on. Top tip, if you've still got a little bit of label on your bottle, then you can stick the wings over it, so it will cover it up nicely. So make sure these big heart bits kind of point towards the front of the bottle where the face is going to be. That will look the best. And then stick it on with the sellotape again. So I'm going to have one bit up here and the other bit down here at the bottom. Lovely. Now you have these lovely wings. Right, what is next? What's next is the most important bit of the firefly, and that is the glowing bit. So if you ever see like loads of fireflies together, they look amazing, like a sea of like little bits of light. It's really cool. But that's because separately, each firefly has this amazing, beautiful, shiny, glowing butt. And it is wonderful because that means that fireflies look so good all together because each one is very special and glowing and delightful. I think we can learn a lot from them. So to do that, we are going to make some special glowing butt confetti. So to do that, we need just a sheet of paper and some colouring pens. I'll put brown away. So I've got red and yellow to be glowing. So what I'm going to do is draw lots of little dots like this. Now you don't want to do it too hard because otherwise it will flatten the pen. I'm going to do it with red so you can see a little bit better. There you go. And you can cover the paper with lots of little dots. You can chuck in some stars if you want, or hearts or swirls or whatever. And cover the whole sheet of paper. Now you can use whatever colours you want. Once you have done it, it looks something like this. So now we're going to cut it into confetti. Now also, if you have some coloured paper, put that in as well. That'll look great. So to do this, we're going to cut it into strips. Again, get your grown-up to help with scissors. So about that far apart, just small strips across the paper. And you can do a few strips at a time. You don't have to do the whole paper. It doesn't matter if they're not straight, as I always say. Right, once you've got a few strips, you need to get yourself a little bowl to cut your confetti into, because otherwise it will be everywhere and not ideal. So get your strips together, hold them all together like that, and then you can cut off little squares at a time like this. And they will fall gracefully into your little bowl that you have got. So be careful not to chop your fingers. We want no fingers in the confetti. That will ruin the firefly. All right, so once you have cut a few little squares, I have a bowl full of little butt confetti, which I have thrown all over the floor. Never mind. Once you have got that, you can start putting that into your firefly. So you'll need a few pieces at a time and just feed it through the top. And you can keep on going until you have filled up your beautiful firefly. Woo. One more. Right, once you are pleased with the amount of confetti you have in your firefly, you can put the lid back on with the little firefly's face on it. There we go. Squeeze a little bit sideways. There we go. That'll do. And if you can't get his face to be straight, you can always unpeel it and put it the right way up. Lovely. And there he is. You can shake him and he will be glowing. Lovely. Now, optional fancy extras, as always. If you have a pipe cleaner, you can make him some antennae. Go about halfway around the pipe cleaner, put it underneath him, then you can wrap it around like this and twizzle the top bits. Fashion it so he has some antennae. Lovely. And also, the fanciest of fancy extras, if you have some glow sticks, You crack them to make them glow. Ooh. Lovely. I'm going to take your head off for a moment. Oz. Put them in. And here's the fanciest firefly around. There we go. So that is your firefly friend. I hope he can keep you company. Right, enjoy the next bit.
It's story time, and this is the story of the Kingdom of Light. In the land of long ago, across the fields of far away, there was a kingdom of light and peace and good. The kingdom was governed by a king who was light and peace and good. All the people who lived there were happy with their lot, because the king's rule was just. All had enough to eat, all had somewhere comfortable to live, and all lived at peace with their neighbour. The kingdom was large with plenty of space to roam, and around its outer boundary ran a high stone wall. The king was generous, giving his people freedom to enjoy the land he had made. And the rules were simple because there was only one rule. In the high stone wall that ran around the kingdom was a small wooden door, and the one rule was this: no matter what happened, that door must never be opened. The king was a friend to all of his people, and they loved him dearly. He spent much of his time outside the palace, walking and talking and eating with them. But though he loved all of his people the same, he gathered around him 12 close companions, men and women, young and old, the knights of the kingdom. With these knights, he shared his life and his wisdom, teaching and trusting them with principles that were good and just and right. One day, the king called the 12 knights to him and announced that he must make a journey, leaving the kingdom in their hands. This was most unusual. The king had never left the kingdom before, but he was sure that they were ready, and he trusted them to take care of his people. As he prepared to leave, he gave each knight a small, square box with a piece of parchment attached, saying, "Keep these carefully while I'm gone. Should trouble come, you'll need them. Open them only in a time of great need, and then you will know what to do." As the king left the palace, the knights looked down at the boxes in their hands, and then across at one another. Should trouble come? What trouble? The kingdom of light and peace and good had never known a day's trouble in its life. The knights separated, each carrying their box to their own homes, where they put them away, sure in the knowledge that they would never need them. One stowed their box up high on top of the kitchen cupboard. Another pushed theirs deep under the bed. And a third placed theirs neatly behind the travelling cloaks in their closet. And so all the boxes were carefully put away, and life in the kingdom continued as usual. One day passed, then 2, then 3, until several weeks had unfolded before them, and the knights had almost forgotten the boxes given to them by the king. Then, one morning, a young woman was walking along the boundary wall when she passed the wooden door. And as she did, she heard a small but persistent knocking. Stooping down, she pressed her ear to the wood and asked, "Who's there?" "Open the door," came a voice from the other side. "Let me in, please." The young woman had never heard tell of anyone knocking on the door before, and she didn't know what to do. She knew of the one rule that governed the kingdom, but if someone was trapped out there and needed to come in... Uncertain, she ran back to the nearest town to seek advice. Once there, the word spread like wildfire, and soon a large crowd was streaming towards the wall. They gathered around the door, and quietness fell as they strained their ears to hear the continued knocking against the wood. The town mayor stepped forward. "What do you want?" he cried. "Open the door," came the voice. "Let me in, please." "We cannot let you in," said the mayor. "We are forbidden to open the door." "Forbidden?" said the voice. "Who forbids you? Please, let me in. I must come in." As the knocking and the pleading continued, the townsfolk looked at one another, unsure of what to do. Then, suddenly, pushing through the crowd, came a tall young man. "Why shouldn't we open the door?" he cried. "Someone's out there. They need our help. What are we waiting for?" "I'm not afraid." And so saying, he walked confidently over to the door, gripped the iron ring in his hand and pulled it open, only to find that there was no one there. The townsfolk gazed, open-mouthed. Where was the owner of the voice? And then the mayor stepped forward and pushed the door shut quickly. He looked around, sure that trouble had come in through the open door. But nothing had changed. "Come," he said, "let us go home." And so the crowd of people began to walk back to the town, muttering among themselves. And as they went, no one looked back at the door, so no one saw what was happening there. Around the close-fitting wood came the flicker of movement, as darkness began creeping into the kingdom like smoke. Soon the door could no longer be seen, as the darkness covered it like a sheet. And once it had begun, the darkness was unstoppable, continuing its march through the kingdom. It poured into the cities and towns and villages, clinging to the buildings, wrapping itself around people's ankles and tiptoeing through the houses, until no corner of the kingdom lay untouched. The kingdom of light had become the kingdom of darkness. As the darkness fell, the people were astonished, and they began to feel something they'd never felt before. Fear. The darkness was like nothing they'd ever known. The fear of the people led to worry. How would they survive the darkness without their king? How would they find enough food or shelter? Who would care for them? Soon, they began stealing food from their neighbours. Doors were no longer opened to those in need, and people stopped talking to one another in the street, as each family concentrated on looking after itself. The kingdom of peace and good had become a kingdom of suspicion and hate. And what of our nights? As soon as they heard of the darkness creeping through the streets of the kingdom, each one remembered their gift from the king. Boxes were retrieved from cupboards, beds, and closets and carried to the palace, where the knights met to open them. As the 12 stood together in the throne room, empty of its king, they turned over their parchments and, struggling to see in the gathering gloom, they read them together. Let your light shine." Then they opened their boxes to find that each one contained a small, beautifully formed light. As they lifted them, the lights, although small, shone strongly, and the darkness in the throne room fell back just a little. "Come," said one of the knights. "We must do as we are bid." And so each knight took their light and went out into the darkness. As they moved through the streets, the lights glowed and shone. Each of them went their separate ways, heading for houses where they knew they would find people in need. One went to the house of an old couple whose fire had burnt out and set it alight again. One took a huge pot of soup and homemade bread to a large family who were struggling to find enough to eat. One visited those who were lonely, spending time with them, making sure they knew that they were loved. As the knights made their way through the kingdom, the lights that they carried left a trail, a blaze in their wake. Whenever they stopped to help someone in need, their light would split in two. So when they went on their way again, those they had helped had a light of their own. And although the lights kept splitting, their brightness never faded. Rather, it seemed to increase, so that the more they were shared, the more they shone, driving back the darkness. Those who had been helped took their own lights and shared them with others. The old couple made hats and scarves and took them to those who were cold. The family called their neighbours and shared their gifts of food. And those who had been lonely sought out others who were begging on the streets and took them home, providing food and comfort and friendship. And so, little by little, beginning with the knights and spreading through the kingdom, the people found and shone their lights. And as each new light shone, the power of the darkness faded a little bit more. As the people worked to help one another, they forgot to be afraid, and as their fear lessened, so did their worry and their selfishness. As the days passed by, the darkness fell back more and more. But try as they might, the people couldn't get rid of it completely. But still, they kept on shining their lights, hoping and longing for the day when their king would return. And then, one day, suddenly and without warning, return he did, through the wooden door in the boundary wall. As soon as he set foot back in his kingdom, the remaining bits of darkness fled, scurrying away from his presence as he strode towards the palace. At last, the darkness was conquered. As the people heard of his return and saw the darkness fade away completely, they hurried to the palace, where their king stood on the steps to speak to his people. "My people," he said, "at last the darkness has gone. I know you have suffered. But when the darkness threatened, you helped to light my kingdom. For you are the light of the world. A city on a hill cannot be hidden, nor do people light a lamp and hide it under a bowl. Instead, they put it where it can give light to everyone in the house. In the same way, you have let your light shine before men and women, that they may see your good deeds. And as long as you shine your lights, the darkness can never win." And with that, the king turned and entered his palace, returning shortly afterwards with a banquet for all his people. The kingdom of light and peace and good was restored once more. In the story, we heard about how people shone their lights by helping one another out, and that's how they drove back the darkness. In these strange times, we can all do that too. We can all shine our lights, like a city on a hill or a lamp up high to give light to the whole house. We can shine the light of peace and goodness and kindness to one another. And if we shine our lights on our own, they will make a difference to the darkness. But if we shine our lights together, they'll grow even brighter and stronger. And as long as we shine our lights, the darkness can never win.
I'm going to pray. Do whatever you do for prayer. If you bow your heads, if you close your eyes, if you put your hands together, whatever. If you agree with what I'm saying to God, then you'll say Amen or Amen at the end. Father God, thank you for your promise. You're always there. When the world tricks us and bad things happen, you're always there. When the treats we were expecting don't turn up, you're always there. In the darkest, scariest times, you're always there. Help us to keep your light shining, reminding everybody you're always there. Amen. Amen.
place. I'm gonna let it shine in the darkest place. I'm gonna let it shine in the darkest place. I'm gonna let it shine, let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. He gave me the gift of love. Peace came from above. He taught me to have more faith. He gave me just a little more grace. He taught me to watch and pray. He told me what to say. He gave me his power divine so I can let my little light shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Gonna let my little light shine.
Well, we have reached the end. I really hope you've had fun. I know we have. And thank you so much for joining us. Please do send any pictures of things that you've done or things you've made to Zephaniah Trust on our Facebook. And until next time, see you later. Bye.